Alright guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be a different one. The last video on Assassin's Creed that I made was essentially me saying that Valhalla might just suck. Now, I'm not changing my position on that. I still believe that the way we are getting hyped for Valhalla is just going to end up, making us disappointed. Especially if you are the kind of player who did not like Odyssey. So now, this is a much more positive video. This is not as negative. Now, I have heard from many people, and especially even some of my subscribers, that Odyssey is not a bad game. That Odyssey is really good. In fact, some people believe that Odyssey is the best game in the franchise. I do not agree with those people, but there are those people. So then I started to, sit down and think, do I really hate this game? Because I have played over 200 hours of Odyssey at this point, and if you really hate something, why would you invest 200 hours of your life into it? So keeping that as a consideration, yeah, maybe I do not hate Odyssey as much as I think I do. So in today's video, I'm going to suggest 5 ways which, if implemented, could have made Odyssey from the disappointment it was to a great game. Now, keep in mind, these are my opinions. And of course, you might share them, you might not share them. Let's not fight over this. Let's just have a civil discussion. So let's get started. But before we get started, I would just like to say, if you end up liking the video, then definitely press the like button. Subscribe for more content that is going to come to my channel. I am healthy, fit now. So yeah, and let's go. So the very first point that I wanted to make was that they have to fix that dual character system. Now, right in the beginning, and I'm going to make some comparisons here as well, because of course this game is taking elements from other games, and it's only fair that I make the comparison to much better games. So right off the bat, we get this choice between Cassandra and Alexios. Now, the reason given to us, that is the genuine reason in the game that was given to us, is that these are two different strands of DNA who have both used this spear. No problem with that. There can be two people, you have two separate strands of DNA, they are way too damaged, so you're trying to emulate something, fine. But there's one thing that completely messes it up, is that two different DNAs will not have the same memories. Which is the case when we start playing the game. If we pick Cassandra or Alexios, we play the same memories. That will never happen. And I don't even need to defend this point because the developers did it for me. In the first Atlantis DLC, when you select the second strand of DNA, voila, you play as Alexios. Or that was it, at least in my case, Alexios, because I played as Cassandra. Now that is what is supposed to happen. One more inconsistency that caused was that in the modern day, if you say selected Alexios would show up in the modern day, and if you select Cassandra would show up in the modern day. So the thing is, that should never happen, because even if the animus is filling in the memories, that's a simulation. That does not affect the reality. In reality, whoever is the actual person who the memories actually belong to, only that person should show up. So according to canon, Cassandra should be the one to show up in the modern day, regardless of which character you pick. So how do you solve this problem then? By making these two characters unique playable characters. So you play as the Eagle Bearer and you play as Deimos. So say Cassandra is the Eagle Bearer and Alexios becomes Deimos. So now what happens here is, you get a genuine character that you can stand behind in both cases, instead of having two character skins for the same character. How does that help? You might say that, Mass Effect does it. Like Mass Effect has these male and female versions of the same character, but in Mass Effect, they are both Commander Shepard. I don't know why I can't say Shepard. So yeah, they are both Commander Shepard. But in this case, they are two different people. See the point I'm trying to make? So since these are two different people, just make them two different people. Let us play half the game as Cassandra and the other half as Alexios. like switching between the two characters. That not only will it help with the actual character development, it will also let us see the side of the cult of Cosmos. Because we have seen in the past in Assassin's Creed that our enemies are not as straightforward bad guys as we usually make them out to be. This would have given so much depth and nuance to the story itself. And that would have made the game so much better. Just, if you want to have two characters, then give them two separate stories. Let us play as those two characters. And let us share progression across those two characters. Or maybe not share progression, whatever they want to do, that's up to them. But splitting these two characters to make two individual people rather than having them be two skins of the same man or woman makes a lot more sense to me. And I feel like it would have genuinely improved the game. Now that is point 1. Point 2 is fixing the leveling system. Now to their credit, they did kind of reduce the grind, but especially at launch, when you want to play this game, if you want to go for the story missions, you had to do one of two things. Either you complete literally every side quest that is in the nearby area, so you can level up and then go for the main quest. Or you can go for conquest battles, like do 3 or 4 conquest battles, then you are at an enough level to move on. Now the thing about this is, if I just want to play the main story, that sucks. Because it's not like I'm engaging in some extremely fun activity, because the side quests in Odyssey, not that great. Okay, some of them are good, but mostly they are meh. And that is bad. If something is terrible, we can laugh at it. If something is meh, then meh. So yeah, so to fix the leveling system, well, you could take an approach like Valhalla has done. And that is something I commend the game for. In fact, one of the videos that I made before, I say that this is a noticeable improvement over Odyssey. Now, I don't know how well it is going to flow, how much that is going to level gate content, but it is generally a much better way of progression. So do that, do what Valhalla is doing, and that would fix Odyssey. So that's my second point. Now, the third point, and something that really pissed me off about this game, was the lack of consistency in the lore department. Now, I've already touched on this in the beginning about how Animus should not change the reality and that someone fucked up. But even without that, they had just hired some random guy of EA to write the DLCs. And so that shows, because much of the DLC is just random shit happening without it being anywhere related to Assassin's Creed. And sometimes it just straight up breaks the Assassin's Creed lore. So let's not even go there. Now, how would I fix it? Now, it's simple. There are people in Ubisoft who genuinely know the lore. There are the original developers who work there. There are people like Darby McDevitt who are currently working on Valhalla, worked on Origins, worked on Revelations, worked on Black Flag. These people know the lore they know every single aspect of the lore. So if you want to do something new, I'm not against them changing the lore, maybe changing something, bringing something new to the lore. You should absolutely do that. But just consult some of these people so that when you are doing something, bringing something new to the lore, it has some amount of consistency with what you have already set up, and so that it does not look out of place. It shouldn't be that hard to set up. So have a lore department, have people that you can consult about the lore so that you don't have these sort of inconsistencies that completely break the lore in some points. Now moving on to point 4. Now this is going to be a slightly bigger point because it has kind of 2 points mashed together. So now 1 is check the mistakes in the game, and 2 is make the game more consistent. So since these are basically the same thing, I'll explain them as the same thing. So what do I mean by checking for mistakes? If you have played the Legacy of the First Blood, that was the first DLC of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you might remember that scene in the end where essentially they want to say that Aya is the descendant of Cassandra. By the way, I do not have a problem with that. I have a problem with the fact that even though Aya is a descendant of Cassandra, even though there is so much Isu DNA inside her, nothing happens when she touches an apple. Again, that's in the lore department. That was point 3. But in the point 4, when Darius is walking through, there is there's a time lapse going on where you essentially see the Great Pyramid being built. Now, many people have told me that, it can be any pyramid. It doesn't need to be the Great Pyramid that was built 2000 years ago. And yes, it can be any pyramid, except for the fact that there's the Sphinx being built on the left. If you look to the left of your screen, you search any YouTube video where the ending is present, look at that montage, look to the left of the screen, that's the Great Sphinx. And that was built 2000 years before Odyssey even began. Not just near the end of Odyssey, it was 2000 years before Odyssey started. They missed the mark by 2000 years. So you seriously need to check for these things, because it is laughable when a game that says that we are trying to recreate an ancient world, okay, maybe not 100% accurate, but at least don't make mistakes that make your time period 2000 years apart. In that way, the game needs more consistency. And in general, the tone of the game. Now, many people have said, and again, I don't agree with them either, just because a game is humorous doesn't mean it's bad. Many people said that one of those quests with the, eagle bearer, the fake eagle bearer with the chicken as his pet. So that was really funny and out of the place. It was bad. It isn't bad. It's good. It's good comic relief. That's fine. And in games like these, in games that are going on for so long and are usually very somber or serious, these kind of quests can kind of break that mood. That's fine. Even Witcher 3 had that quest in the beginning where we went looking for an old grandma's pan. That's fine. It's just that when you are having a tone, when you're having a character, you need to be more consistent about it. And that is something I don't really know how to fix, except for the people who actually develop the games. They would know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix that. So yeah, in general, the tone needs to be much more consistent. Now moving on to number 5, that is combat. Now, I have said this before and I'll say this again. The combat in Odyssey is the best combat system in the entire series. I am not even joking about it. Because if you look through the ages, through the Assassin's Creed ages, combat from Assassin's Creed 1 to Revelations was absolute garbage. I don't even have a kind of a point to say there. It is garbage. And then Assassin's Creed 3, 4 and Rogue had that, really gory, flashy combat. Not flashy like superpowers, like flashy more like you can kill 100 people in a row and nothing will change. I didn't particularly dislike the combat system, it was serviceable. Now moving on to Unity, I would say Unity was the closest in terms of having an actually good combat system. Then Syndicate was crap. Moving on to Origins kind of took Unity's system, made huge improvements to it, so it was better. But even that still had its limitations, and I would say Odyssey is the best system that Assassin's Creed has ever had. So now, why would I say there is a need for improvement then? See, the problem I have with this combat system is not that the way it flows or the way it is. My problem with the combat is basically the over-the-top skill moves. And the fact that we are slashing away without any, the hits that we register don't really feel like hits. They feel like you are slapping someone normally. It's like me slapping someone. The hits don't even feel real. Now, how would you circumvent that? I would say go for a system more like Sekiro. Now in Sekiro, if you haven't played the game, it's a brilliant combat system. It is very unforgiving because it's kind of a play on Dark Souls combat, but it has this stance system. Essentially, the more you get hit, even if you're parrying the hits, the more you get hit, the more your stance kind of gets fucked up. And if your stance level gets, if the bar completely fills up, you can die in one shot. And the same goes for the enemies. If the enemy's stance meter completely fills up, you can kill them in one shot. And I really like that system because it's not a system that's completely over the top. It's a system that is very fair. It's a system that works for the most part. So just slight tweaks there, maybe, tweak it to be slightly more forgiving, but also have that difficulty level in the highest difficulty. I would love to play that. If that kind of a system will be really good for Assassin's Creed to do in terms of having a good, decent combat system. Doesn't mean Odyssey's combat is bad. Odyssey's combat is just out of place and it was good as a one-off system, but we really need a better one. But again, these are my 5 points. These are my opinions. What do you guys think? Do you think that, Odyssey is already perfect, it doesn't really need much improvement? Do you think Odyssey cannot be salvaged no matter what we do to it? Or do you think, do you agree on some points with me? Do let me know down in the comments below. I'll probably be posting this on Reddit as well, so there's that. Please don't murder me there. That is my genuine request to you. And yeah, that's all there is to it. So if you do end up liking this video, then definitely consider pressing that like button. Do subscribe to my channel for more content. There is more content coming now that I'm fit and up and running again. And yeah, I leave you guys with it. So peace.